Paula, and this is Grassroots Music. We're going live now on Awake Radio and ShazizRadio.com. Also, someone has me playing. Turn me off in the back, please. Thank you. We have Mike King is helping me co-host tonight. Say hi, Mike.
Hello, guys. Everybody out there.
And we also have a punk group called Profound. Jeremy, Josh, you like to say hi and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Jeremy. This is Josh over here.
Anyone else in there?
Yep.
I should have asked before I called.
Tim, I'm the drummer.
Oh, nice.
Well, I was talking about you guys coming on, and Mike, who's done radio himself, had a question for you. You know, ask them this or that, and I'm like, well, come on with me, Mike. And
well, I'm an old rock drummer myself, so it's good to get some good information out there. And you guys are, trying to get your album out there and get some tickets sold and stuff, just like everybody else. What kind of background influence you got? Is it from the Sex Pistols, Dead Kennedys, DRI, something like that? Or you want to skate punk?
Definitely Dead Kennedys, Misfits,
Black Flag.
Black Flag?
Yep.
Yeah.
Clash. Clash. Mostly hard, fast, and loud.
That's cool. So you never
That's
got
awesome.
into the English side of the punk era? What do you think about Green Day? Are you into the newer punk or the older punk?
Not so much the newer stuff. A lot of our influences from like the old hardcore bands from the 80s and stuff.
Yeah.
What's your favorite band? Go down the line, all three of you. Name your favorite band.
Mine is Dog Fashion Disco. They're like they're not really a punk band, but they're like an avant-garde metal band.
I'm a big Clash fan.
Excellent.
If I had to pick one, I would probably say the Dropkick Murphys.
Excellent.
Mandy?
I don't even think they know here.
Mandy's our keyboardist. She's in the back.
hi, Mandy.
Hi.
Appreciate your keyboarding.
So you have any upcoming state jumps or anything? Or are you just playing local in your area?
Pretty much just playing local. We just got a 3-song EP that came out, so we're promoting that and playing a few shows in the area. But we're always open to going outside the state and all that.
Where can people pick up your merchandise at?
They can get it at profoundwill.bandcamp.com, and they can find us on Facebook too.
You know who my favorite punk band is I've been listening to?
What's that?
Who's that?
It's another local yokel guys. There's a friend of mine out of Gatlinburg, Tennessee there. They're called Scattered Union. You should guys check them out.
Scattered Guineans?
Union.
Union.
You should bring them on. How long have you guys been playing together?
About a year.
Yeah, about a year or so, yeah.
How'd you kind of get together? I know Jeremy is in another band as well.
Yep.
Oh, so this isn't your only band that you're in?
What's that?
This isn't the only band you're in?
No. The other band is Ground Zero Warhead. They're like a thrash metal band, old school thrash metal band.
Excellent.
Yeah, we got some of them too later on to share with you.
Yeah, that's all up my alley. I'm the old school Exodus and Creator kind of guy.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, we got to open up for Exodus in Green Bay a few months ago before summer. That was pretty sweet.
Oh yeah, I bet. How are those guys live?
Very, very solid.
Album tight, huh?
Album tight, exactly.
What about attitudes? Does the money go to your head, or does it seem like it didn't affect them? And was Gary playing? That's another big question.
Yes, Gary was playing, and they seemed very humble, very, very fun to play with. A lot of my bandmates went and talked with them backstage and everything. They said they were really cool, so that's good to hear.
And as a drummer, I have to ask, was Gene Hoglan on the kit?
I'm not sure. I don't know if I'd recognize him. I know the name, but I don't know if I'd recognize him.
Oh yeah, he's a large hairball kind of guy. But that's awesome for you guys, man.
We should cue up one of your songs. You want to hear you on the radio?
We prefer not, but no, just kidding.
How about umbrellas are for cowards?
All right.
Sounds good.
Then you could tell us about it.
What are they on to only care about how much you're making a less what you'll buy? You only ask cause you're wasting your time rolling up past the after why you think it discriminate away on the side with for your orders put on a racial thinking that's our greatest rights. I see liberated, now you throw away on something that requires nothing. You get sucked back to infancy, it's spending time in your reliant playpen. Give up on answers, all making mistakes. Learn to live under a fabrication. Mass race, institution. Pastoral rights, no inclusion. Misery was holiday, say nothing new to me. Yeah, I cry like you're innocent. I just got these new clothes, I hope I don't get wet. What a terrifying concept. Seconds of living up. We're fine and very much just kind of big roll suffocating on each other's exhales. Something that requires nothing. You've been sucked back to infancy. It's been time in your reliant playpen. You were trained to bring up for security. This guy's a free fall to insanity. I know you want your play and what I want better than enemies. Now it's raining like a double rain. Rush and sleep for another day. More excuses for that rock. Sing a road in your submarine. You're lying in the suffering. Lying in your suffering. Rip out your back for the fewer people. Put it for a mother to mold. Put it for the desperate too hard to hold.
Wow.
It's a good track. Very good track.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So what?
Umbrellas are for cowards.
So
How'd you
what
get the
brings you
title?
to writing some of these tunes that you guys come up with? What's the premise behind this one?
Well, this one's pretty much about how people value security over freedom. Just basically saying that, you know, whatever happens in your life, the rain's coming down on you, and a lot of people want to go for their comfort, their umbrella, instead of actually facing the rain and actually doing something great because of that.
That's cool. We want to give you a chance to be able to explain some of this because people pick up albums here and there, and you know, even for youngsters, you know, their parents are, you know, not digging the fact that they're into this stuff that they can't even understand, and it gives you a chance to explain it so everybody can understand what the message is behind it, and it's not some hidden agenda, you know, that some parent's going to come up with or out of a cliche. So it's a good thing to be able to ask.
Yeah. Always good to be informed.
Always. What about you, Paula? You got anything to ask?
Absolutely, I like that because we just had a live reporter over at one of the courthouses where there's all these different people, not just one cause, not like just Occupy, but so many. Everyone she walked up to had a different story and a different thing going on out there, and the police were surrounding them. And I actually did tell her, if anything goes crazy, give us a call. We'll break in live and hear what she's got to say. But yeah, she and I have teamed up, and I've had her out on these things. And a lot of people have a Facebook, and they say one thing or the other. But to get up and to rise up, and today, from what I could hear, she was surrounded by like 200 people that did, get out there and do something. And I love that, the music of today, our grassroots music, is picking up on the today and in the now. It's really pretty cool. Not a question, I guess, just a statement about, way to go, guys.
Well, it is definitely a different world that we live in today than we did a while back.
It seems like the content can write itself in the social climate that we have today, where it's like music as a social commentary, not so much as a political thing, but as just a social commentary. I think people tend to listen to it more, and a lot of times it's not so, like in America, it's not so much Democrat, Republican. Whatever political parties people call it, usually it's self-actualization versus the opposite, the antithesis of it, which is, I guess, subjugated mentality.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of what Jeremy and I were like when we were talking about writing more socially conscious music and him lyrics, and I think it really opened him up to like a lot of sort of unchained creative aspects of it. You don't have to be from, you can be from South Africa, from Ireland, and still understand exactly what we're talking about, even if it's concerning American politics. Everyone seems to feel that clampdown nowadays from.
Oh yeah, any country from any continent that's been any slightly bit democratized is going to have some kind of aspect into reality of what everyday mechanics of the world's going through, and a lot of that is easy to draw from for you guys, apparently. So, that's kudos to you guys, man.
Absolutely.
You can take something out and turn it into information like that for people.
Because it's really hard for bands these days. I've really interviewed some amazing bands, some talented people. They have another job they have to go through, and they all have to coordinate days off so they can make these different things. It's a hard road out there. You guys the same
music
way.
Is really, really difficult.
Yeah, starving artists and all.
Yeah, more starving artists nowadays. Most of us got day jobs, and mostly it's not so much a hobby, but it's like, sort of a
to stay alive.
Well, in the digital world that we live in now, back 10, 15 years ago, making a CD and selling a CD, that was your whole principle of getting your music delivered to the mainstream media and to the populace. And even you might have 2 or 3 great hits on that CD, but they had to buy the whole CD. It's $15. But now, you can go and get a digital download that's $1. You write 5, 6 songs, you put them on there, but one sells, pretty good. You're not making the $14 you was off the CD. You're only making that $1. But you cut a lot of the middlemen out. You still make a good return. But your numbers have to be producing, and that's it's kind of a sad thing,
Yeah, you cut out the filter.
Yeah, well, you cut out the advertising too, as well, because you lose a lot of these big time marketing people, and all these agents and execs aren't backing your product. That's a big thing, Mercury's not shoving it in your face at Specs Music or any of the other CD outlets.
Yeah, the nice thing is that you can, like with the internet, you can get your music out to pretty much anybody you want. So that filter has been unleashed, but at the same time, there's so much music out there. There's so much being bombarded at you that bands aren't usually making tons of money anymore. It's more about the passion of doing what you love. Yeah. When the economy sucks and everything else is just kind of bearing down on you, you got to have something that you love in your life, and music for us is that outlet, is that force that keeps us from going insane.
Getting popular is sort of it's being popular and making money now is sort of like a consequence of just, like Jeremy said, just doing what you love to do. If it happens, it happens, but some people, I'm sure it's still a quest, but other people, it's like, if you fall into it, then
it's there. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, the money runs out, so that's easily avoidable if you just look at it, like you're saying, open-minded and not, expect to live and die by the buck, per se.
Mm-hmm.
It's about sharing, getting it out there, getting the message out there, and being heard.
Well, it's about investing in yourself too. You believe in yourself. You put in a lot of hard work, a lot of hours spent, a lot of miscommunicated, conflicts, and just the whole gamut of everything. And you look at like George Lynch from Dawkins. He's taken his millions and he put it in a shoebox and buried it in the desert, bought a 1-bedroom trailer and lives there on the spot and just plays guitar and ride motorcycles. That's all he does. He didn't go spend it on this multi-million-dollar mansion, and now here he is struggling to make sales because Dawkins albums aren't promoted anymore. Really, you don't hear about him anything. So all his sales on radio play is gone.
That's cool.
It depends on individual, though, don't you think? What makes you happy?
Yeah.
Maybe he knows something a lot of people don't.
What's that?
Like I told
Maybe
my
he
dad
knows
one time.
something. Yeah, a lot of people don't. I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's like I told my dad one time. Being rich is defined by so many different ways and by countless different types of people from all walks of life. How rich is the guy that is able to get up in the morning and have electric and have all of his stuff and be able to go to work and all that? Or how rich is the kid that lives out in Cambodia that actually got, rations from the UN one day? Rich can be defined anyway. It's all a personal quest. The music does touch into those the aspects of people's lives. It's something good that everybody can bond with.
Well said.
It might be, sounds like we're losing connection.
I don't know. Connection's getting a little choppy, but we can still hear you guys for the most part.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Oh, I can hang up and call you back. If it gets too bad, let me know. Listeners, you guys let me know if we're breaking up. We can always try to fix it here. I'll just start pushing buttons. I'm just kidding. So your next, Denny Envy, I wouldn't say your next song yet. How did this come about?
This was actually the first song that, when me and Tim were starting writing songs, this was one of the first ones that we came up with. And it basically is about people complaining that they're not rich, they're not wealthy, they're blaming all the rich people for everything when they've done nothing in their life to actually get even a chance at that point. So it's just a statement of saying, a lot of people are envious of others and they'll deny it and blame other factors on it instead of just accepting it.
Oh, wow, powerful. Should we stick it on? Want to hear it?
Yeah, cue it up.
Sure.
We'll jingle up and hear it. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Awake Radio, straight talk for the awake and aware.
Get some green, get success. the sweat. You know you can't make it yourself, so you stand at time in the street all day. Wish you had another chance to create you up, but nothing wrong when I pay you anything at all. Bricks in a wall, bricks in the street, no red doors of opportunity. Hey, you want it, you bought it, they sold it, now you hold it. Yeah. Process, we all want what's best for us. What's best for us? If everything was free, we still became and to continue living. Let's still consume. I understand you need an excuse, but it's time to grow up. Grow up, grow up. Stop being so obtuse. You're just jealous and disappointed in you. So disappointed. Well, in most cases, to depend upon the quality and quantity of your efforts. That it ain't someone else's life better. They know value than your price.
All right, we're back. We're sitting here with the guys just chit-chatting about some songs that they've played. Let's ask them some more questions. Anybody have any questions you want to throw up in the chat room? Go ahead and post those up now, and we'll give you a few minutes to go ahead and read them off. Otherwise, we can sit back and see what these guys have to say about anything that's on their mind. You guys ever do any practical jokes to each other?
Yeah, a couple of them. Well, we got Mandy over here. She's a really good artist. Like, she does paintings and drawings and everything. She does like hand drawn flyers and everything. She's really good, and she drew a bunch of nasty things on a
styrofoam ball recently.
Mandy.
And we kind of like toss it around to each person, and they kind of.
It's a bow chicka bow wow.
You can't really describe the nastiness, but you can imagine.
Yeah.
Mandy.
Just imagine 3 guys and 1 girl, and you can imagine.
And a cup.
You can imagine what the subject matter was.
Well, it is Wisconsin. There's a lot of cows up there, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Any good cow tipping lately?
Not lately, no.
So y'all have any shows coming up in here recently or soon that you want to let the listeners know about that might be coming into area for the Christmas holidays?
Any shows? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I don't think we have anything planned, actually. We kind of, whenever an opportunity comes up, we just kind of see if we can take it. And right now we're kind of just going with the flow, trying to get some more songs recorded and everything. Yeah. So
we recently actually just got done playing. We played a show with DOA and their farewell tour, so that was pretty cool. Getting to play in front of those guys.
Yeah,
well, that's cool. So you only have the one EP album?
Yeah. We just got the one right now. Yep. What were you gonna say, Tim?
I was just gonna say it's pretty cool playing. DOA was a punk band. I mean, that I listened to a lot when I was in my late teens, early 20s throughout, and it's one of those things about being in a group and having opportunities like that in a small town, like, I guess relatively speaking, a small place like Green Bay. You never know what's going to come on through.
Yeah, kind of like the Milwaukee Metal Fest. You just never, see that thing. You'd never understand it until you're there. Pretty neat little shindig, though. So what's your favorite foods?
What's that?
What's your favorite foods?
Favorite foods. Well, two of us are vegetarians, so we like a lot of veggies and fruits and beans, stuff like that.
I was just gonna say my favorite food is meat. So.
The other two guys are big meat eaters, so
I understand that.
potatoes is pretty big around here.
Chatline had commented on your X-rated ball of porn death. That was for Mandy from Kelly Spurlock. Sorry.
So, do you guys live together? Do you have your own places, your own families, or?
Yeah, we all live on our own. I think Tim's got a family. The rest of us don't have any families that we know of, but.
I'm telling you, Mr. Freak and the Freak Show Band guest here, they're really burning it up. They're really trying. They're doing their odd jobs too, and practically living off of T-shirt sales. So, and we just did get their first CD, something that we can actually touch, feel, and share. So don't be discouraged. The quicker you get out there, the quicker people are clicking on your music, the better.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a big reason why we're excited to be on here, is just to have people hear us from different countries and everything. That's you never know what could become of that, and it's not about being famous or anything, but if we got a message that's positive, that makes people think that, and if just one person hears that and changes their mind or makes them do something, that's worth it to me as a lyricist, and for everybody else,
encouraging independent thought, especially when the biggest complaint you hear about music today is, even with the internet, it runs very thin on content, and what people are kind of actually talking about or concerned about, and it's a good counterbalance to have, with the help of the internet, to have a lot of these other bands that, lyrically, there's just more, I guess, more food for thought. You can, you have to use your wisdom teeth to kind of chew it up a little bit.
Right.
As opposed to the, just the blandness of what most people consider. I mean, from a multicultural, multi-country standpoint, what people consider American music. It's really a sad state of affairs at this point.
Mm-hmm. Well, you look at the fact that from the 70s until present day, everything that was analog has been transferred to digital now, recording-wise. And there's so much, like you were saying, there's so much stuff out there that people can get a hold of, but the problem is they don't know how to get it. The mainstream artist line comes through, like you go to Polestar.com, and that's where all your big labels, RCA and Mercury and Atlantic, all those have to register with Polestar and put their artist on the tour list. So you can go to Polestar and you can check who's on tour a year and a half before the tour even starts. But see, as an indie artist, you can't do that. You have to find the subsidy label that the people are under, or it's kind of a word of mouth thing, or you have to go into promotions like what you're doing now with Grassroots here and Awake Radio.
Yeah.
So you definitely have to feel it out and find your avenues now more than you did before. Because if you got signed into a small starter label with, like, say, Atlantic, you got a 3-album deal, you're going to get your 10 grand. You got 3 albums to bring them. So most artists like Metallica, they did it right. They put their money back in themselves. They dropped the first album. They took their 10 grand. They put it into brand new instruments, into production. And then, bam, they turn the second album over. Then they turn the third album over. Then they've already paid off their endorsement into the company. Now they've got the next album's contract, and they know they're going to produce. So here's the $50,000 check. And here comes the big tours and the arenas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you don't get that, just hanging out at, Joe Blossom's, cherry shop down the street, drinking sodas, and kids don't get that shit no more. You have to go out there and work for it on your own. You don't have no company helping you.
Seems like the duller the artist, or the more like Lady Gaga and stuff like that, Justin Bieber, stuff like that. It just seems so brainless, so mindless. But that's the stuff that's making
But
all
it
the money.
is. But it's also projected to a certain demographic of age as well. You know, you look at the Justin Bieber stuff, you look at Selena Gomez, you look at Miley Cyrus when she was actually doing hits that were selling the big stuff where she was getting the Walmart contracts and stuff. This was all teen music, teen pop, bubblegum stuff. So, I mean, all that is legitimately aimed right at those kids, that whole demographic age line. And it's mostly teen girls. And then the other subject of that coin, it would be looking at the boy bands, and that would be your One Direction and things like that, you know, to be able to, you know, get the boys involved because, you know, they have someone to dress like now, so the girls would like them, and you blow up the entire industry like that.
And that's kind of the irony of it, too. I mean, the sad irony is that it's projected at a very young age group, and it's so dry, you know, and it just lacks. I mean, these kids are going to emulate these people, and look at how soulless it really is. There's nothing really to it except these people earning $1, and then the consequences of all these kids that emulate these people are it's too bad that they aim it at the people, the kids who can spend money. I mean, with
it doesn't matter the message either.
Exactly,
they want the dollar.
Yeah, so it doesn't encourage any substantive thought, and that's kind of what that's sort of the core of what Profound Will is lyrically tries to get at. Is if it's all just music, then at least lyrically, there's something to be said there, as opposed to shake your ass and you know, bottles to the ground, you know, kind of thing.
Well, with writing more mature lyrics and stuff that you are, with more sentimental value that has deep rooted emotional touch to people that can, you know, convey and connect with that, you know, that's a lot better than trying to get that one little DJ hook and, you know, have everybody dance for a little while, because something even at a young age that you might touch somebody emotionally that might be in a traumatic situation or in a positive situation that can reflect and connect at 15 or 16, this is something that they could take with them until they're 30, 40, 50 years old and move on with it. You know, I'm a huge fan of Rush, you know, and I could have been some progressive idiot and said the lyrics don't mean jack shit, you know, but they do, you know?
Yep.
True.
Yeah, Rush is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with it. From a drummer's perspective, Rush is slightly better. I mean, but I can't speak for bassists.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah, don't worry. I just go up on stage and fake it. I don't really do anything. What?
So you guys like sports at all?
I'm
Packers.
Yeah, I'm a huge sports fan.
Man, do you see that a little louder?
So we got half the group that's vegetarians, half meat eaters.
And sports lovers.
Coincidentally, the vegetarians, they're not big sports fans. Meat eaters, huge Packer fans. So it just goes to show that music does sort of bridge gaps.
Right.
It does. It does.
It shines light on all the darkness.
Yeah, that's a great thing.
Universal language.
I was going to say that's a great thing too, because especially with punk music and usually with metal music, everybody is encouraged to be themselves, to be an individual. That's your main sticking point of why you love the music and everything, because you get to be yourself. And I guess that's evident.
To your point too, Jeremy, I mean, with punk music, it's very accessible. I mean, so if you're a young kid, I mean, it's not that hard to play chords. I mean, it's all putting the notes in the right places.
That's all crap, though. There's actual, you know, people that progressively play punk, and then there's people that can pull the shit off and just, you know, I did it. Did you hear it? I did it. I played punk like for 15 bars. You know, that kind of stuff.
It's just it's accessible outside. You know, I mean, it's not overproduced. It's not, you know, hours and hours and hours on end. I mean, you can string 3 chords together and it sounds good.
And with me, I've only been playing guitar for maybe like a year and a half. Pretty much since the start of the band and everything. Before that, I was just a vocalist. So definitely coming into punk, it was I looked at it as it was going to be fun and it was going to be somewhat easy because I didn't want to go into doing crazy guitar solos and everything. I just wanted to play and let the music flow through my emotions, and it turned out to be the perfect avenue for that.
Well, my buddies in Scattered Union, they said they are really dedicated to the dedication of all the aspects of their playing. They're perfectionists in their performance. They set everything out and they give it 110% at all times. And what I'm getting at is they have like a skate persona as like their stage image. What would you consider your stage image? Is it something more like suicidal tendencies? Is it something
Kind of
metal?
Got a lot of like Bad Religion, Pennywise. We kind of got a lot of Bad Religion, Pennywise kind of feel. Kind of that more melodic punk, but definitely a lot of aggression from like DRI, suicidal tendencies, stuff like that. Yeah.
I know for me, stage presence is fun, but it's also, about, conveying the music first and foremost, more or less. It's
and ease of play. It's got to be ease of play.
Yeah.
See how Kerry King plays with chains all over him and nail spiked arms and stuff, How are you going to give it your all when you're worried about puncturing your own lung,
And, yeah, there's definitely a show aspect to a live show. I mean, like with Misfits, having the like a dress and a style. I mean,
theatrics.
Yeah, and looking, not just playing music in a band, but looking like a band of people that hang out together. I mean, with Profile, we don't really have much of. There's no dress code. Some bands have a dress code.
We don't get together enough to figure it all out.
But, we're all busy. But from my point of view, I like to wear low-cut shirts with lots of cleavage. That usually helps.
Yeah.
Well, as the only female, I mean, do you put any input in the guys whenever they're getting ready to maybe head out stage? Maybe a little bit before that, where you go, nah, that shirt, you ain't wearing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any kind of input into what they're going to actually wear? Or do you just let it go and let them come on stage with, the baseball cap backwards and the bandana? And
they usually do a pretty good job of dressing, I guess.
Dressing themselves.
They have some couth about it.
The music, it's more in the music, I guess, and being on point when you're up there, hitting things. Being, like you said, being a perfectionist in the music, but it's not so much. We don't really carry, like a look or like a visual style outside of the energy that Jeremy puts out and that we all put out as a group through the music. And some bands do it, and some people might even argue that visual image can make or break you, but some people obviously, would say that. It's not such an important thing, but personally, I mean, bands like the Misfits are, like a band like Rancid or whatever that looks like a bunch of hard ass punk rockers. It's easier to, I guess, buy the music too at the same time.
Yeah,
you got a bunch of guys.
Well, that marketing is what it is.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like the Typo Negative guys, they were really dark and black, almost like. The Misfits were and stuff, and that projected a lot of sales to the emo clan, and you see a lot of the punk rockers, and all I'm trying to do is kind of give people a mental image of what to look for. You're not like painted up like some death metal, dark metal like band from or you're not Gwar coming out.
Oh, if you are, we gotta see. Turn the camera on. No, I'm kidding. No, really, are you all?
But I mean, you got the cliche stuff where you got the multicolored hair and the spikes and wallet chains and stuff. So
in a way, it's a form of artwork too. The style of the image is art in itself too.
That is a good point.
Absolutely.
Do we have one more track there, Paula?
We should do. It's called Every 10 Seconds.
Yay. Best one. My favorite, my personal favorite.
How many babies die today? How many babies every day? Killed in only hours of night. because you didn't care enough. How many records walk tonight? How many lives would be right? 13 or 14, I can't decide. But it'll happen to the end of time. Every 10 seconds I'm buried alive. Every 5 seconds I'm struck by life. Every 10 seconds I'm so ashamed of my ladies and atrocities. Every 2 seconds I'm lost with leprosy. 5 more and I can fall spontaneously. Every 10 seconds I'm so engulfed by exaggerations and lies. Cigarettes kill and cell phones too. Numbers add up to subtract you. Many all call and let you know you're just about to hit that wall. Every cross along the side reminds me of the guilt inside. Wait, there should be many more. The more you wear hangs out my proud. Every 2 seconds I'm buried alive. Every 5 seconds I'm struck by life. Every 10 seconds I'm so ashamed of my ladies' atrocities. Every 2 seconds I'm lost with leprosy. 5 more and I combust spontaneously. Every 10 seconds I'm so engulfed by exaggerations and lies. Lies! Why are you surprised? We devise, we analyze. Never ends, but I fail to stay forever fence. Give me an hour, I'll sway the stats. Where this is an empty chamber, you can run around from ones and zeros. That's all that you will unload. Mental health. The fusion blocks your every node. Every 10 seconds, the statistic is conjured to misrepresent reality. Every 10 seconds, the world has changed. More have to react on insanity. Yeah! Looked and watched through every mile, every joke and every smile. Maybe it's every lover now, 'cause I don't wanna do this anymore.
Hello.
Hello. That was awesome. You were telling us about that song.
Every 10 seconds.
Every 10 seconds.
Every 10 seconds.
Yeah, that one's pretty. Should I explain what that one's about again?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so they can hear on.
Yeah, we were cut, Mike.
That one is about how you can pretty much use statistics to lie, to mold, to shape people's emotions in anything you want. Really, it's basically a call to take it for what it is, and don't let it shift your life in a certain way. Just because you hear that 1 out of every 10 people die, every 10 seconds. It's just kind of it's a lot of it's just kind of a social
whitewash.
Yeah.
So for new albums and stuff, we was talking a little bit on the break there when we was listening. You guys said you have your demo out now, and you're going to be working on a couple more studio or basically production demos that you can hand out at some of the clubs and various shows you're going to do, and then maybe step into the studio and drop a full-length album. What kind of time frame are people looking at that? Maybe a year down the road, sooner, later?
probably a year would be a good estimate of time. Would probably be done before that, but it just depends on a lot of things. Life gets in the way a lot.
And here's the big show. Always got to ask, do you have anything booked yet for New Year's Eve? That's the big show. Everybody's booking now for those. Clubs are booking big time. Just to be able to let people know if you're out there playing for New Year's Eve to come out and check you out at the big party and the drop of the ball.
We don't have anything yet. Why? Do you got something for us?
People listening, they're available.
There you go.
It's profound.
You got a contact number that you want to shoot to anybody that's listening out there that might want to hire you? You can go ahead and plug that in your website or merchandise site.
Yeah, they can just find us on Facebook, facebook.com/profoundwill, and we'll get it.
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
Awesome.
Also, Jeremy has shared with us another band that he deals with, Ground Zero Warhead. Can you tell us a bit about some of that? Because I'll be continuing to share this music on air from now on out.
Yeah, Ground Zero Warhead is the band I got in before I started this project, Profound Will, and they're basically old school thrash metal, Metallica, Anthrax, Exodus, stuff like that.
All the stuff I cut my teeth on.
That's awesome. But yeah, we play really fast and intense and very not technical, but very tight. All the members in that band are very, very skilled at what they do. They're very professional. I'm lucky to be a part of them, and it's pretty cool because we all were like Ron Paul supporters, which was really, really odd to find a band that was into personal liberty and everything.
So many people came together through that.
Yeah,
we've had networks just because of meeting in places like that. So wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, I got a chance to give them a listen. They reminded me a little bit of Municipal Waste.
Yeah,
I should say.
That's a big influence of mine, definitely.
Well, absolutely love the titles like Morbid Atrocity. Can't even say it. Morbid Atrocity.
That one's actually about Jeffrey Dahmer, Wisconsin serial killer, if you don't know.
Oh, that's right. It was Wisconsin. Oh,
Yep.
not something. Let's go back to being known for cheese, please.
Yeah.
Yes, I need some cheese.
You want some head cheese? Oh, that wasn't funny. I heard
Actually, that was funny.
I heard they found some heads in his freezer. It's just being, what a morbid atrocity.
Right.
Oh, should we play that? You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Let's cue it up.
Yeah!
Yes, if you go to awakeradio.co.uk or shazizradio.com, they both have chat lines. I believe on shazizradio.com, if you click Knights of the Round Table, there's a chat room there as well.
Try it.
And we're live. That was wicked. That was so good.
A little bit more intense than Profound Will, but but still
Well,
good.
it's two different birds. They're both birds, but they wouldn't date.
Well, there's always time and room for good bashing metal.
I think so.
That's what the Air Force, actually, the fighter pilots listen to that. They fly around when they're doing their sorties and stuff, and they're listening to Exodus and Violence and Forbidden and stuff like that in the cockpits.
Nice.
It keeps their adrenaline up. It keeps their mind mentally focused and sharp.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's crazy the stuff you can learn. So, are you a big metal fan, Paula? I'll take your silence as a yes that you have the Violence album on cue right now, right?
Yeah.
So, have you heard any of the new Megadeth?
Nope.
Sadly, yes, I have.
You have, Josh?
I have, yes, sadly. I was not a fan of it.
It's not too shabby. The title track's pretty good.
It's
I've seen worse.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, yeah, that's definitely true. I like a lot of my Megadeth to be more old school, and that album reminded me a lot of like the newer school, like not even new school like Symphony of Destruction or anything, but more just like Risk and
cryptic writings and stuff.
It was it didn't do it for me.
The one before that wasn't too bad, if I remember.
Yeah, Euthanasia was.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Wasn't that 13?
Euthanasia struggle.
The world, something about the world, or I can't remember the name.
I thought it was 13 or something like that.
It might have been. I don't know.
Sure.
Who knows? Dave's pumping out too many damn albums.
Yeah, right.
At least he's not Metallica. I at least gave it a break for a while.
Right.
Yeah, the funny thing when I talk to a bunch of metalheads, you know that it seems like more of the guitarists are big Megadeth fans, and they really can't stand Metallica. But you know, most people. Not everybody's a technical guitarist, so they usually like Metallica a lot more than Megadeth. And I always found that pretty interesting.
A lot of my friends are like that as well, and I've always enjoyed Metallica a lot less than Megadeth. But Megadeth is far my favorite metal band of the '80s era, besides Exodus. I enjoy Slayer. I talk to Tom Araya's wife from time to time on Facebook. She's a friend of mine.
Nice.
And, like James Murphy, he's a friend of mine, lives in the town with me. He was ex-guitarist from Testament, and he played with Death and Obituary and stuff. So I've got some good friends, but they all say the same thing. Music quality. Dave was a lot better player, but he had to have Kirk in there because of the Satriani studio lessons and the flashy. There you go. Like we was talking earlier with the with the other band, with you guys. What's better? The better part or the better look,
Right.
Yeah.
True.
Look sells.
I know for me, as far as the 80s goes, I'm a huge Maiden fan, but I think fucking Steve Harris is amazing on bass.
Oh, yeah. Love Maiden.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff, and it seems like nowadays you look back and the 80s had so much more. I don't know how to describe it, but a lot of bands nowadays are finding that influence from the 80s, or always had that influence from the 80s. Whereas you look at the bands from the 90s, and everybody kind of liked them, and like myself, I still do, but nobody draws influence from the new metal bands or or too much of the grunge bands or anything. It's
because
all from the 80s.
Nirvana flipped the industry on its ear. If you look back, like what you're saying with the 80s, people cared about the music because the music had certain parameters. You had to have the killer guitar solo. You had to have the good drum beat with the flashy lyrics that hit on every good downbeat in the bar on in the notation. And in the 90s there was no guitar solos. Name out of any of the Nirvana stuff, how many guitar solos are in the song? You could probably pick out 4 out of the entire album.
You just repeat the chorus as a guitar.
There is none. So your music quality, your musicianship has went down because anybody after Nirvana and stuff, they didn't know who Joe Satriani was and Steve Vai and Yngwie. They didn't know, who the hell's that? And then now people's got to get back because where do we go? We just flipped the whole place on its ear. Where do we go from here? Everything's wrong. So we have to back up to when everything was right and start over. And that's why all these bands can come back. Van Halen's doing their comeback and dropped a whole brand new album out. You know, that's why they're allowed to do that. It's because it's not because the industry is going, hey, we want Van Halen. It's because they can come back and the industry needs them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that too, at least from my perspective, is that a lot of bands that they were popular, but they weren't like the super popular bands of the 80s. Like you would have your Blondie and Billy Idol and Culture Club and like bands or even like going into your Motley Crue and Poison of like the 80s, your bands that are like the Judas Priest and the Iron Maiden and the Van Halens, you know, everybody from the 90s after that, they, you know, now our generation, they got their influence from those, popular, but more underground popular bands. And now all of a sudden, yes, those bands are emerging as people are like, oh my God, these bands are amazing. Like, where did they come from? And it's like, well, they've been here the whole time.
Like old is new again.
Exactly. Yeah.
The retro.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Rat get back together and pull one. I think they just actually played up in Detroit or something like that in Michigan or your area up there. They played, it was Rat, Lita Ford, and Poison.
I think I remember seeing something about that.
That would have been an awesome show to go see. I wasn't a real big Poison fan either because I'm not a fan of standing up and playing the drums.
And Mandy here's a big. She likes folk music like Bob Dylan and Cat Stevens and
oh, that's
Beatles
killer
and stuff. And the
Carpenters
Doors.
and stuff?
What's that?
You like the Carpenters?
Absolutely.
Tim does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I just picked
Oh,
one of
yeah,
their
I
songs
did.
from me and my mom to dance to at my wedding next month.
Really? What song did you pick?
Something Smile. Can't think of it right now. Can't Smile Without You. That's the mom and son dance song.
Oh, that's for sure. She's gonna cry her eyes out song.
I hope not. I have a rental tux. Oh, they can clean it. So, are you guys single? Any of you guys dating in the band? Is there any fraternizing going on? Anything like that?
Well, me and Mandy are a couple, so that's how she got into the band. I was playing some guitar, and we're like, well, you know how to play piano, so we just kind of thought that adding keyboards would be a good idea, and we kind of coaxed her into it, and now she's fully on board and enjoys doing it. So.
I got a question for Mandy then. Whenever you meet people, does anybody ever pop off the song by Barry Manilow to you?
Yes.
Is that annoying? See,
Yes.
I have to ask that because my fiance, her name's Roxanne, and you can tell.
Oh, bless her
So
heart.
it's nonstop stupidness, you know.
Tell them the story about the subway.
I haven't gotten it for a while. I'm 32, and back at my first job when I was 15, I was working at a cousin's subs, and this man came in to order and looked at my name tag and said, "Oh, Mandy, you know that Barry Manilow song?" I was like, "Yes, I'm aware of that." And he started singing, belting out the song, and then his wife came in and she started singing along with him.
Oh wow.
Oh God, how embarrassing!
You know, I was a teenager, and all my friends were there just laughing, and
Was you there eating, or was you like a server or something?
yeah, I was like behind the counter, and yeah, they were ordering, and just right there just started singing.
Wow. Kind of like, where's the surveillance cameras? That's
Right.
that's nutty. I'd have freaked out. Yep.
But yeah, Mandy adds a lot of with the keyboard, adds a lot of depth to the music and everything. It's a different. I'm a huge Jethro Tull fan, so you know I'm automatically wanting to add flute to everything. But
I love the Doors.
but we figured you could add some Doors, organ and everything. So.
Is that the primary role as the keys? Is kind of like that middle bridge between the guitar and the bass and the vocal line, or is it the underlying notes like what Ozzy does with his keys, or not soloistic so much that?
She plays through the whole song, so it's not so much. She has like certain parts where there's solo, where it's more of a solo for her. But yeah, it's a lot of complementary notes.
I think everything's
I pretty much Jeremy will write a riff on the guitar, and I'll kind of listen to it, and then I'll go through and say, okay, these notes work, and kind of complement it in a way that it's not the main thing you're hearing, but it's
Yeah, kind of like Nightwish and not Dream Theater.
sure.
Yeah. Yep.
That's cool. It sounds like you guys got a good gel going on over there. Sounds like you guys are a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, we're all very easygoing and everything. This band's been very fun to have and everything. Everybody just kind of comes in, does their thing. We joke around, and it works.
Well, if you
That's
guys
so
get in this
cool.
area over here, I might be able to hook you guys up with a couple places you could play, and just walk over. We're in Tampa.
Oh, yes, I can hook you up as well. Ever get down here, give me a call. Say we'll be down there.
Do we have to do
I'll
a
have to
def-
tell you where to end up.
Well, there's actually a place right here in my hometown. It's called Roscoe's Chili Cook-Off, and it's really, really huge. It's covered in multiple magazines like Easy Rider and biker magazines and stuff. And they have open booking for bands, metal, rock, punk, and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's right up you guys' alley, and you'd be playing main stage is 10, 15, 20,000 people.
Wow.
Jesus.
Yeah, if we ever get a chance to make like a mini tour or a full tour or anything, we'll definitely talk to you guys and see what we can get down there.
Yep.
We'll take US 41 all the way down there.
Come couch surf.
Yep.
Plan a vacation.
Yeah, that's what you do. Bring everything acoustic and plan a vacation.
Yeah,
Come
that'd
down
be-
and just find a nice spot you can sit in and just see how the music swings over with the crowd, Do an unplugged version or something.
Right. It is getting winter up here, so we might need to head
Yeah,
south.
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, wait a month or so and ask them again.
And a lot of the places will be booking like the New Year's band, so a lot of the house bands will be in, but a lot of your big bands will already be booked up, so there's a lot of places will be needing bands, actually.
Nice.
And tent,
Yeah.
Sounds like a
And
problem.
it is Florida, right? I did say that it's Florida. There's clubs everywhere.
And when you say club, do you mean what do you mean by that? Because pretty much up here we just have bars.
It's probably the same.
Well,
Yeah.
we have bars. Bars to us here basically have food.
Okay.
Clubs is basically just music and nightlife.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a little different than up here. Yep.
Yeah. A bar for us is just basically, a venue that's got, the food, drink, and music and everything, and a club is more like a techno dance type thing, and for like a place that would be like a bar for you guys for food is more like a pub and grill or
All right. Or like a lounge. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
See, they're almost categorized here. So you can look up actually just rock bars or rock clubs, and you'll just get a listing of nothing but all the clubs that specialize in rock music in their club.
Oh, awesome.
And then that's how you can go through and book your bands and stuff like that.
Yeah, up here we got the bars, and you got a lot of cover bands that make a lot of money in the bars up here because people just want to go and drink and maybe watch a game on TV or something. And if a band's playing, they want to hear songs they know. So it's weird.
It's sickening because you hear the same fucking Journey song every time.
That's crazy.
But there's definitely places to play though. You don't get the huge turnouts, you don't get a lot of money, but you see a lot of passionate people, and that's what you meet every one of those people that wants to talk to you. So that's a really cool thing about it.
That and you gather the following and stuff.
Yep.
Definitely.
There's a place over here in Orlando. I live in a town called Lakeland. It's 30 minutes. Orlando's 30 minutes to the east, and Tampa's 30 minutes to the west. So dead in the middle of the state,
Okay.
right on the I-4 corridor. And they've got live band karaoke there. They've got probably 600, 700, 800 songs in their system. The band knows all of them. The only thing they don't have is a singer. And you go to the club, bar, or whatever, and you go in there for your evening to enjoy yourself, and you can write down whatever song you want, jump on stage, have the band play right behind you. It's a pretty neat idea.
That sounds really awesome, actually.
I think we're gonna come down just to do that.
Yeah, that sounds really awesome.
Hey, Mike, our author has gotten a call. He'll have to go to work at 10. Why don't I put on another Ground Zero Warhead song and bring him in?
Okay.
Let him
Maybe
get
these
his
guys want to
plug.
ask him a couple questions as well.
Yeah, sounds good. You guys hang out.
Okay.
The day after from Ground Zero Warhead. life.
All right.
Wow, that was amazing. And while we were listening to the song, we have Wesley Fox joining us to talk about his new book. Someone, I'm hearing me over your mic.
It is not I.
Not I.
Oh well, Wesley, you there?
I'm here.
Ah, so tell us about your book.
Well, the book that was just released, House of Echoes, A True Haunting, that is about my family's true haunting experience we had in Lowell, Arkansas in 1983. I was just an 8-year-old kid. Seems like forever ago now. But, when we moved into this house in Lowell, the paranormal was not a popular thing at the time. If you believed in ghosts, you were kind of considered to be crazy. And my parents, of course, they were the biggest skeptics that I've ever known in my life. So, instead of living in the house 2 weeks, which we should have, but we actually ended up being there 8 weeks. And it would have been much, much less if, my parents would at least believed in the paranormal a little bit. Different things would happen to separate family members. And anything that happened to my father, he was always able to blame it on that he had drank too many beers the night before. To where...
So wait. So the entities that was in your house was like centering out certain individuals of the family and doing things to those people separately?
Right. Like my dad, he woke up in the middle of the night and had to use the restroom. He's using the restroom while coming up the stairs is like this huge big ball of light. And at first he's thinking, okay, it's a light from the outside. But of course he can see there's no windows to actually project that. So he's thinking, okay, I drank too much beer. But this light just kind of came up by him and then ended up floating into the attic. That happened to him on 2 different occasions. And then
I
there was
would have
another
stopped drinking the first time.
Not him. He was too stubborn. On another occasion.
I think it's harder for a man to admit, especially, no one really believes it until they're like face to face with a situation.
Right, and with him, it happened, something similar happened to him another time. He's upstairs, it's probably a Saturday or a Sunday because he's taking a nap, and all of a sudden he starts feeling these cold hands just rubbing his face, and of course, he's kind of awake, but he's not, but at the same time, he's too scared to open his eyes. I think that's kind of what started really making him realize something was going on. Because at the same time, you had my mom, she would get up early in the morning and she would hear voices. One of the times she heard a voice, it said, "We're going to get the one looking down the hall," and the other one too. She heard that plain as day, and she knew she was the one looking down the hall, and she figured it was her dad was the other one too.
How old
That's some scary stuff to hear.
What's going on?
And then, like myself, I woke up seeing a little girl standing over my bed. She reminded me of Laura Ingalls from Little House on the Prairie with the old, the old time dress, her hairstyle, everything. And I described her to my parents this way, except for I said, one of the main differences is she had braces on her legs. And then, of course, there was another time to where I woke up seeing a dark hooded figure standing over my bed. And that terrified me. A lot worse than what the girl did.
Without spoiling the book or anything, there must be some amazing history that you found after you got older and started checking out, I'm sure.
Yeah, my aunt had started doing some of the history check, but of course I finished it up. And what we found in this house, and it's a large, Victorian house. It was like an old plantation back in the day there in Lowell. But we had found out that there was 3 murders, 2 suicides, and then there was a satanic cult that had done rituals in the 19-teens and 1920s in the attic of the house, which that part there tied really well in with my sister's dreams she was having, because she was having some vicious dreams the first night. And then a lot of the different things that happened, like different chanting coming from the heat vents, and just all kinds of weird stuff. But we lasted 8 weeks.
That sounds scary as can be. And this all happened in Missouri? Is it Missouri?
No, Lowell, Arkansas.
In Arkansas.
Yep. Lowell's about 10 miles north of Fayetteville.
Well, I don't have to ask you why you got involved in the paranormal, because I know as someone that has lived in many places that weren't haunted, but has been unfortunate enough to live in one that was, right there, that's what makes you do it, to see if, as
Can
an
I
adult,
ask this
can I
without
bring
giving
this
away
again?
any information? Is the house still standing?
No, the house was torn down in 1985. The people that owned it was Allen's Canning Company. I think they got tired of people moving in, people moving out, just so quick. We lasted the longest at 8 weeks. So they finally, the lady had actually bought the house and she was going to have it tore down and moved. Well, I guess she ended up with the money, to get it tore down, but she was never able to actually rebuild it or anything else. She ended up using the wood as firewood, I guess.
Wow.
Now, talking about, what got me into the paranormal, of course, it was this. It really got my interest going, because during that time in the house, we didn't have someone to turn to help us. I mean, we tried to go to the church, and we went to a Baptist church. We were laughed at. That Baptist preacher told my mom there's no such things as ghosts. There's no such things as demons. It's just like
Ignore it.
cartoons.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I don't know why, but that's just kind of set with me over the years, because the only, I guess, researchers there was then would have been Ed and Lorraine Warren that I knew of. But of course, we had no way of knowing how to get a hold of them during that time.
Yeah, back in the
So,
70s.
me, older, I wanted to be someone that people can reach out to out for help. I done a whole lot of research on the paranormal, what was what, and how to diagnose different problems. And then, of course, my team got started. We started doing, we were just at the Aurora Public Library here in Missouri. We're going to be doing the Old English Inn in Hollister. But, our main cases are with the residents. We had residents call us and up by Kansas City, and they were having some major issues. But with the help of my team and Kelly Spurlock and Joe Edders, we were able to get rid of their
Yay,
entity that was in
Kelly.
their house.
She's a good friend of mine too, and actually worked with her, as I was mentioning to you, on the Sunshine Skyway project, and also she brought along with her a priest that was able to help in situations. Have you entered many situations that, speaking about demonic issues, that had these issues?
And unfortunately, it seems like we are running across more and more. The last 3 we've done, residential was demonic, and we had to get a blessing kit sent to them and at least get them started on the path of recovery. I mean, the way our team is set up, I will go in with my team, get what evidence we can, listen to the stories, of course, and then try to feel things out for myself. I will go back to Kelly Spurlock, and she will remote view our case. And I tell you what, that lady is so good. She can hit right on with everything. And then, from there, we go to Joe Edders. And then Joe, the demonologist in the group, he will actually send a blessing kit. Well, he'll do an interview with the residents, and then he will send them a blessing kit and then do some remote praying, and then that rids the entities. We are, Branson Paranormal Chasers is a very Christian-oriented, we pray before every case, we pray after.
What do you think about
Absolutely.
these reality shows, that these ghost hunters and stuff like that? Any truth behind any of that? Any merit, or is it you think it's all Hollywood?
It's a lot Hollywood, but
I know some of
there
these
are.
places are actually haunted.
Oh yeah, I was going to say that. There
I
are some
mean,
of the places
anyone
that
can take a recorder and go to one of these places and pick up voices that they can't explain.
Well,
So,
there is a lot of low ohm noise, white noise, if you will, that comes from like certain pieces of machinery might be moving, creating vibrations that are so undertone that dogs can't even hear it. But over time,
yeah, you
vibrations
try
through
to
the
use
walls
your
pick up
equipment
stuff.
to measure before you even start to make sure there's no power anywhere or nothing emitting anything. And you take your instruments and you do a pretty good sweep, and then you can get like a bass reading.
Yep,
But you can pick up a cell phone also on different equipments in different lines too. So, but most things that look at that now will say when you're going over your evidence, cell phone.
But see, I never understood is, you got the reality shows that have all these people ghost chasing and stuff. Where are they coming up with the equipment for behind this? There's got to be a science based somewhere on something for any of these mechanics to even be able to be created and given to hand,
Well, that's like
I think
a
it's
lot
hit
of
and miss over
sound
the
waves.
years. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Wesley.
Like your voice recorders, and then of course your cell phones and telephones. They're all in the same sound wave, the same frequencies. And I think that's why, because nowadays you got apps that you can actually get on your phone that, of course some are just a complete joke, but there's some that work. I have an EMF detector that I downloaded to my phone that matches up perfect with my other investigator's K2 meter. The main difference is I didn't pay $100 for mine. He did.
Well,
But
I know just some of the gadgetry I've seen on TV, it looks kind of weird. Where they got stuff where the ghost can talk into some machine and produce the words on the beeper looking system
The
or
ghost
whatever.
box. I've never used one, but I've always wanted to. It you can make it, and if you want to do it, you make it yourself. If you want to know it's done right.
that's what I was just recently told by Kelly. she suggested that, and
Yeah.
With a lot of this equipment these people are using, it takes a lot of money. Our group, everything we do is donation. We do not charge for any residential investigation that we do. Like the one that we took off in Blue Springs, that was over 200 miles, just one way. But, that came out of our pocket, because I wanted to help these people. So, I mean, it's hard to actually, pay for the gas to do the investigations, plus to buy the equipment and everything else.
Well, for all the listeners out there right now, if you could give them any kind of advice, what are some of the telltale signs that people should look for that might give them the idea that something paranormally isn't right with their living situation?
Well, to me, I mean, the first sign is when you see something move yourself.
Well, yeah,
of course, that's
scary.
But listen.
But
Listen
they
to
just
your,
seem, they know they'll find you. They'll say.
listen to your significant other, because if housewife
The
possibly
one
was like,
that's at home the most.
right, they are going to get picked on, and they can have all kinds of stuff going on with them. And the other one, of course, things not happening to them, they're like, yeah, whatever, but they need to listen.
So if you see apparitions, that's or items moving on their own, those are two definitely telltale signs. I mean, like, what about like maybe lights turning on by themselves? Is that even possible? You hear stuff, you read stuff on the net, that the ghosts can do this. They can move through walls, but you can't see them in a mirror, but you can see their breath. Or I'm looking more along that kind of information is what I'm really getting at.
Well, I know with the way we attack the cases, some of the stuff, there really are true demonic spirits out there that will come to people's life. They will move things. And if you hear of cases where, people are saying, well, they were levitated off the bed. And if you find that to be true, then, I'm going to tell you that's going to be a demonic entity that did that. They could do pretty much anything, unfortunately.
I'm guess I should say that I'm very glad that I've never witnessed anything like that.
Yeah.
One of that case we did up there in Missouri in Blue Springs, the young man, 15-year-old boy that was involved, he had been pushed down the stairs by something. Which, okay, something like that. I mean, maybe he tripped. There's other things to look at. But then was held down in his bed by an unseen force that was choking him, and he barely got out of that, alive. And then his girlfriend, her face was held down in a pillow, and they tried to smother her.
Now, is there any way that you guys communicate with these people whenever you go into these homes and stuff to say, I know you said something about, like a exorcism kit or a clean out kit or whatever it is for the house. Is there any way to communicate and find out like why they're there, or, why are they disturbed spirits? Maybe they're just pissed off because, they didn't get the rest of their life, or they're there for a reason, and that's just to screw with people.
Well, the demonic, they're there to ruin anyone's life they can. If they have an opportunity, where someone has opened their free will to where this young lady, which would have been the young man's girlfriend, she had brought in the evil spirit into the home, or the demonic spirit, because she had an attachment due to some of the different things she was doing. And for some reason, this spirit decided to go along with the boy, almost like it was jealous, I guess. With the things we heard, I was sure it was demonic, but I had to have, evidence and proof that it was. We got the dark hooded figure on our night vision camera, and when it's darker than dark and it moves, that's scary. Yeah. Especially right after that, we're doing an EVP session, and you hear a growl, but you hear it out loud, and there's no dogs, there's no nothing around, and you're just kind of looking at each other like, that wasn't your stomach, was it? Like, no, I was hoping it was yours.
I hope it is.
I've heard some of those growls.
So where can people pick up the book at?
Amazon.com. My website, which is wesleyfox.weebly.com. On that website, they can actually get personal copies from me of that or the Dark Craft. And then at ABC Books in Springfield, Missouri.
Well, I can't wait to get both of them. I can't wait to read them. That's right up my alley.
Well, the Dark Craft.
What's going on in the world is so scary. I need a ghost story, so don't be afraid when I go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might as well just watch Fox News. That's a ghost story on its own.
Oh no, that just trips me out.
We will be having, or I should say, I will be coming up with a new book after I write the Dark Craft 2 is finished. I'm going straight to writing Missouri Ghost Hunters case files from the Branson Paranormal Chasers. and it's going to have some of these cases that I told you about. And I'm going to do that in volumes.
Great. Let us know when you get it out so we can give you a shout out here.
Oh, I will definitely let you guys know. I'm getting ready to go do it. Talking about all this ghost stuff, I'm getting ready to have to do a ghost tour here in just a few minutes.
I know you're going to have to bow out on us really early. Don't feel bad about it. We were just glad to stop by and can't wait to read your books.
Well, I can't wait either. Anyone out there that has a Kindle, it is available on Kindle.
Well, you heard that, all
awesome.
folks. You can get an e-download. You can get the paperback right in your hand. Go check out his new book. It's coming out here anytime, right?
It's actually out right now.
Yeah, it's out now.
Yep. House of Echoes. And we just re-released the Darkcraft with the new cover. And then, like I said, we're kind of getting it ready for the Darkcraft 2 to come out, because everyone that read the Darkcraft loved the characters and the story, but they liked the way their friendship was. And so, of course, I brought back those characters for a 2.
Awesome. I can't wait.
And that's going to end up being a 4-book series.
Awesome. You said one of them was fiction and one's nonfiction, right? So what are you going to stay with the nonfiction? For your
well, the Darkcraft 2 will be, fictional. But I guess you can say I'm going to be doing a mixture of both, because, the case files from Branson Paranormal Chasers is going to be nonfiction. So, But guys, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to bail.
I know. I understand. Have a good night, and keep in touch. Let us know what you're doing.
All right. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for calling.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
We'll go to song, and it'll take us to a music break. Another Ground Zero Warhead, and it is... Oh, gosh, I got the name. Madness Defined. Stay tuned.
reality.
Listening to Awake Radio, straight talk for the awake and aware.
If I pretend that I'm okay, then I'm just lying to myself. Time spent running in circles, time spent dying with myself. And I'm not alright, and I'm not alright, and I'm not alright, no I'm not. This whole city's burning down, like I smell the smoke from here. Not a sound escapes now from this sort of catastrophe, and I'm a little bit self-destructive, and a little bit going insane, a little bit stupid, and I'm losing my own way, my own way. And maybe I'm falling down this dead-end street. At least I'm not crawling on my knees. And I'm a little bit self-destructive, and a little bit going insane, a little bit stupid, and I'm losing my own way, my own way. All apologies to those with insecurities about themselves. This whole city's on fire, and now I'm on my knees. And I'm a little bit self-destructive, and a little bit going insane, a little bit stupid, and I'm a little bit self-destructive, and a little bit going insane, a little bit stupid, and I'm losing my own way, my own way.
All right,
Well,
we're back.
That was cool, Mike. Thanks.
Yeah, those guys are out of Gatlinburg, Tennessee, Scattered Union. Thought I would share that with you guys.
Cool. Yeah, we'll definitely check that out when we get off of here and everything.
Yeah.
I like the name.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So we're coming up to a close here on the show.
There we
It's
go.
about 9:45 coming up, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
It was
I
kinda
sure.
odd
I
talking to
thank you guys.
The paranormal
for
thing, I
coming.
wasn't expecting that one.
Did it freak you out?
Oh, no. I will definitely sleep with my Teddy Ruxpin tonight.
Nice.
The glowworm.
Well, I really appreciate you all coming out. I finish out the hour playing some past guest music, which I will continue to do with you guys. So, you want to hear a new band? Tune into Grassroots Music. That's where you're going to hear it. And you're also going to be told where to find it. These guys work really hard. Most of them have day jobs, night jobs, anything. They're trying to get the band together in between. And they're putting out some really good music. And I'm really proud to share. Thanks, Profound Will. I got it right this time.
Yeah.
Hey, go ahead and
Thanks
tell
for
them where they
having
can
us.
pick up your stuff. Tell them one more time.
You can check us out on Facebook, Facebook/ProfoundWill, or you can if you want to check out the songs directly and even donate to our cause of just playing music. You can check out profoundwill.bandcamp.com.
Awesome.
And you got your EP out now, and hopefully we'll be hearing some new material from you guys soon, and maybe hitting us up with an email with some show listings that we can broadcast out there for you guys out in your Wisconsin area. It was enjoyable talking to you guys. Best of luck.
Awesome. It was great. It was great talking with you guys too.
Absolutely. That takes us out of here, folks. Good night.
Thank
Good
you.
night. Thank you.
Yep.
You're listening to Awake Radio. Straight talk for the awake and aware.